Well, hi, Bev and John. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, it's a pleasure.
It's our pleasure always.
It's lovely to see that you have a lovely sunny background there and you're in Spain again.
Yeah, we're in the sunny part of Spain, right on that miracle coast where it stays nice and bright, and it's the temperature's temperate, seems like all the time. And yeah, it's been beautiful.
Wonderful. And this is a long house sit, right? It's about a month, I think.
5 weeks.
Five weeks. You set us up. I remember we were talking to you that we wanted get back into longer house sits, which has been a bit of a test with this COVID thing. People aren't quite as comfortable to go away for long sits, and our comfort is long sits. So I remember we were talking to you, and then you said, well, stay posted. I might have a couple coming up. And sure enough, this one came up. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You fit the brief perfectly, and it sounds like it was a good match.
Well, you know, the beauty of doing these Zoom calls with the homeowners is you can connect people in, much better than email or text or whatever it might be. And I think we connected with Jan and David right away.
And you called it, because I remember you do that a bunch of interviewing with them. So you knew them pretty well. And because you know us, you're like a wonderful matchmaker.
Well, it usually works if I'm lucky enough to meet everybody in time. So fingers crossed, the luck continues. But I'm delighted it worked well with you, and so well. It sounds like you're relaxed and happy. And it looks like COVID is way behind you. I mean, after the first conversation we had where the garden was rosy and you were house sitting in torrential rain in England in the darks of winter. And then we had a house sit discussion when you were, I can't remember where you were, but it was after house sitting during COVID. And you were talking about being cautious and how you traveled
Colorado or Georgia or somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, we spent the summer in Colorado.
Right. Lovely.
In various altitudes.
Yeah, pet sitting. We were pretty much, once again, pretty short back to back, but we had a lot of repeats because people would go away for a week and they'd say, next month. And, so we ended up being about 3 months in Colorado.
Gosh.
But this was the big one, to get back on a plane internationally, because as we've discovered with the COVID situation, which is not over, and I think what we see is that it probably will, some part of it will probably always be with us, like the flu in a way. And so all the countries are still trying to figure out what's the right balance. What do we need to do to protect our citizens? And so, so I remember when we first talked to you, we said, oh, you just have to be flexible, just keep up with what's happening, fill out the paper, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. John got into it.
Well, first of all, we were very fortunate to find an app that everyone needs to know about.
Oh, what's that? Tell us.
It's called Verifly, Verifly.
Okay.
And it's an app that was developed by American Airlines. It's now being used by a lot of airlines. I'm hesitant to say most.
And cruises.
And cruises, yes. And basically, you enter your information about where you're going and when you're going and what your flight number is. And from there, the app tells you what you need.
Brilliant.
And tracks whether or not you have it and is it complete.
Fantastic.
So if you need to to go to a specific country, we did in Spain, we needed to get a
Health certificate.
Health certificate. And part of that was we needed to get a PCR test within 3 days of the departure of the flight. So it told us what to do. It told us and once we got an email from the people
clinic,
who actually did it, we loaded that into the system and it said, okay, fine, you're complete.
Yeah. And then you need the health certificate. We needed to fill that out, and you fill that out 24 hours before you depart. I mean, everything has different scheduling, and it actually walks you through it. Now, given that, it certainly gave us a sense of security, because there's a lot of paperwork, and all the files get put into this one app, and then you just show the little code, and they click it. We're really technical here. They click it, and then your passport comes up, your driver's license, our little card to say that we've been vaccinated, our health certificate, the that thing you were talking about. It all shows up.
Right.
So that made us feel more secure. Now, even though we had it all online, we also did have all the hard copy, because we were, you know, it's kind of like, remember when we started paperless tickets? Do you remember that? That was back.
We didn't trust that we're going to work.
We didn't. And we would always have a copy, a paper copy of our tickets until we gained some trust. So going back, we may risk it.
Well, no, we won't.
Yay.
What's interesting, a cautionary note here is that we went into Verify to post all the information about our return flight, and our information about they only recorded the first leg from Phoenix to Dallas, Dallas to Madrid. The rest of it, the return flight, they didn't record.
Yeah.
How strange.
It was all gone. And there's a little hiccup with the app, so it's not perfected yet. And then I started to find out, okay, so where do we get the health certificate to return to the United States? That wasn't easy. I can send you actually the link that you can post at the bottom of this.
Yes, please.
For people to do that. But my suggestion is make sure you leave yourself plenty of time, because they can be quite a few documents. Some of the documents can be a little misleading. The health document to return to the United States is about 3 pages, but there's only 2 questions that are relevant. One is, are you vaccinated?
So what happened last night when we were going through it, we were reading it out loud saying, okay, is this what it's saying? Or is this what it's saying? You know, it's one of those things because it's legally.
Wow.
So,
and you're citizens. It's not like you have to fill in all the other stuff.
Yes, but this is interesting. When we came to Spain, we did get the test. We didn't have to because we were fully vaccinated. And at that time, Spain wasn't requiring it. I don't think it is even now. But to go back to our homeland, we have to get the test.
Yes.
And so, you know.
And this is the PCR tests, which is the accurate test for COVID.
Yeah, we got the PCR coming. We're going to get the rapid going back, though.
Okay.
Rapid, we can take the rapid. It's accepted. We were so kind of concerned that we just decided to get the most advanced test, do everything possible, even though some of it wasn't required, just to make sure everything went smoothly here, because we had people who had a schedule. And so as house sitters and pet sitters, we are uber careful to make sure we hit deadlines. So the other thing we did was we flew in early, about a week early, and we said, okay, that way, if for some reason we get to the airport and they said, sorry, you can't make it, we'll say, okay, we have time. And so what we did with the extra time, obviously everything went very smoothly. We stayed in Madrid for a few days, and the Prado, and walking through the botanical gardens and all that and eating. And then we went to Ronda, which is a beautiful little white village up in the hills. And then our homeowners, so gracious and wonderful, they came and picked us up in Ronda, and we had lunch together there and then came down. So it was smooth. Yeah.
And we've essentially left ourselves ample time on the way back. As it turns out, the homeowners are going to have decided to come back a day early.
Right.
They were going to be they've purchased a home in Portugal as well as Spain and God knows where. And it just takes forever to process these and close these. Plus, with the resurgence of cases, Portugal is getting a little tight. So the homeowners have decided to come back here a day early, which we said, fine, we'll go to Malaga, check out Malaga, see where Picasso
was born,
his museum is.
His little museum, yeah.
And then take the high-speed train up to Madrid and get a PCR or rapid test at the airport in Madrid.
The day before and the night. So, just as house sitters, and we are incredibly careful, but we anticipated that there was a possibility that they may come back earlier, partly because they couldn't get the paperwork to enter their new place in Portugal. And just with a little bit of background, because we've been on the road a little bit, we kind of know these countries a little bit. It's the holiday season. That on top of COVID, we kind of had a feeling there was a possibility the paperwork wasn't going to happen. And that's exactly what happened with them. The paperwork hasn't cleared, so they don't really have anything to do. And so they flew back to England, and England is cold and rainy and dark right now. So we're coming home one day early.
And I can't stress enough the importance of at least investigating this app, because we had heard this, but then when we got to the airport in Phoenix, people had 2 fists full of paper that they hadn't really investigated, they hadn't completed. They're at their check-in, they're trying to fill it out there, and it was holding up the lines. It was just terrible. And then people would walk up with their phone, hand it to the agent, and bing, 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 you're off.
And the agent would light up, saying, "Thank you."
What a relief, huh?
Give it a go. Luckily, we're flying American Airlines on the way back too, so the app should help us.
But you said the app isn't contingent on having an American Airlines ticket.
No, but we're not sure how many other airlines have signed on to it. Several have, and several cruises. I know Viking Cruises is using
Okay.
it now. But that's another thing. We haven't Googled that to see how many more are accepting it.
I'll research it before posting and just specify. Okay, that's so helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Other
so
than
now will you be
other than that, Spain has been a delight.
Great. Well, good weather, obviously. And how have your pet charges been?
Oh my.
We've got 2 labs. Okay, so here's really, one is blonde and one is black. So I can't wear all white clothes or they'll get black, or black clothes they'll get white. They shed, but they have 2 gals that come in once a week, just delightful. And they manage to get all the hair up and get things all tidy again. So that's been wonderful. They are just big, huggable creatures.
They're the sweetest, big, clumsy labs that have weaseled their way into our hearts as we expected. And we are going to, we've got 5 days left, and we're going to miss them. We're gonna miss them terribly.
They love being with us. The owners also, when we do long sits, if we need a car if we're going to be away from a town, and we can't get provisions here in this place without driving. It's a mini, and so
with labs.
They come in the back seat. And in Spain, you have to clip them in. So we put on this kind of like this saddle blanket on the back with holes which have their clips that come through. But you're fine. I think it's $500 if your dog isn't clipped in.
Really? Gosh.
It's a really good little
expensive.
thing to remember.
That's a good idea.
Between that and knowing where to park. That's the other thing. So anyhow, they love going for car rides. So
And they will not allow us to be in different rooms. We have to be all together. They get
lonesome. How sweet.
about that. They keep an eye on us.
really cute.
And they've gotten very bossy. I will tell you, the homeowners had told us that every Tuesday and Thursday, they are picked up and they go with a dog walker who takes them out into the country, for a walk. Well, we said, well, that's nice. That's delightful.
No problem.
So
No problem.
The first day they came back, oh my God, you wouldn't recognize them. They were filthy dirty. Boris, who's the blonde, his face was black. And so it took us an hour and a half to clean them.
Which we sent a picture to the homeowner. She said, "Oh, a zebra door." But they're labs. They like being in the water, and there's a canal, a historic canal that runs around here, and so the dog walkers take them with 4 other dogs, so they get a lot of socializing. They're exhausted, so by the time they come home from that, and then we give them their hour and a half rub down and cleanse and all that, they are like on the floor flat.
Done.
Long day.
For a couple of days, they are done.
Yeah. So
Wonderful.
it's been wonderful. It's you
Oh,
know,
I'm so pleased. And so now Spain, one of you knew Spain quite well and the other one not so much. Is that right?
I had been to Spain before, but years ago, back
Yes.
when you can actually hitchhike. I was in my 20s, so I was, in that era.
That was a couple of
Right.
years ago.
That was a couple of years, yeah. And it was on John's top list. Spain and Portugal have been the two places he's really, really wanted to see. And
Yep.
so we're in more of an international community
Right.
in this little white village. However, we take the guys for a walk down by the beach in San Pedro, which is mostly Spanish. And so we get to practice our Spanish, and that's where we do our vegetables and produce and fruit is down in San Pedro, because they're just tiendas with colorful fruits and vegetables, all out in the sidewalk and everywhere. And we just really
Wonderful.
enjoy.
Is that a weekly market or is it a daily?
No, they have weekly markets too. This is a daily. These are regular, really tiny little closet-sized stores that are
Wow.
peppered throughout the town.
Gosh.
And, so it's
Some of them just offer fruit.
Yeah.
Some of them it's fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, but they have like dragon fruit and passion fruit. They have lots
Oh,
of
wow.
mangoes and yum.
Gosh, it's amazing. So John, has Spain held up to your expectations?
Well, this part of it, yeah. I still have a desire to see Valencia and Sevilla
And Barcelona.
and I mean, a whole lot of other places. We try not to do any or very much touring while we're pet sitting. So it was great for this one. We had the car, the dogs could come for rides. They'd love to go for rides. We went out for a ride the other day and got royally lost. And the kids were in the back seat, just loving it.
Nessie, the little girl, likes putting her nose right out the window so the sun is on it. And then the little boy, Boris, likes to lie down.
Little, he's not little. He's like the size of a lion.
He is actually the size of a lion.
He acts little. That's adorable.
We were pretty strategic about this. When you talked about this pet sit, we said, okay, that's, in total it'll be about 7 weeks. We didn't know. This is our first during this whole change in the world. We weren't quite sure what was going to happen. So we said, no, let's just go do that and then come back. And that way, if we are uncomfortable, then we can cut out. And if we feel comfortable with the world, then we'll just start scheduling more pet sits internationally. And so
Right.
we're very comfortable, even with the new variant coming up. Yeah, we are going to go back. We're going to get the booster. A lot of the being vaccinated and getting the booster is not just peace of mind for us, but for the homeowners. And they pretty much all asked that. We just filled out an app yesterday, and one of the top questions was, you must be vaccinated.
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. And so you're heading back to the States for presumably the holidays.
Yeah, for till the 29th, and we're heading down to Mexico for 2 months.
Oh, wow.
But also I'm going to meet up with my sisters, and we're going to do all of our medical stuff, get the booster, blah, blah, blah. And then, and we're back on it, looking for a long sit in the summer. And
Spain again or somewhere else?
It doesn't, we're pretty open to.
We're wide open.
Yeah.
We've looked, there's several that are starting to pop up. In fact, we're spending 2 months in Mexico, and we're going to Alaska for
Touring.
10 days.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Photograph the Northern Lights and to photograph the
Iditarod.
opening of the.
Oh, wow.
And while we're in the States, we're going to visit our kids in Boston. So we're like flying all over across.
New grandson.
Oh.
And then we're flying
lovely.
back to Mexico for 2
No, we
months.
first go.
Oh, wow.
We
Little
have
Rock,
a sit in Little Rock, Arkansas, and the homeowner, he was the chief engineer to the building of the Clinton Library, and so he said, "Come in early. I'll take you on a VIP tour of the library."
How cool.
This is a repeat sit, so we know them pretty well.
Mhm.
And then we go back and do a repeat in Mexico, and then we're open to whatever.
Okay. Oh, well, I'll bear that in mind. Yeah. We've got some new homeowners in France, actually, quite a few popping up. So that's quite exciting for us. But yeah, no, I'll bear that in mind.
I bet, yeah. We're it's still, as you well know, it's a wee bit early for this summer. I think we are available starting May. I think it is.
The end of May.
The end of May. Okay,
The
so
very end of it.
and that's a little bit early, I think.
Yeah.
Unless people are really, really organized. I think we've only done one way out that far.
Yeah. Well, I have a month long in the Dordogne, actually, at the end of April, beginning, and then going through for 5 weeks through to May. So anyway, but they hopefully it looks like a lovely spot. I have to say, you'll have to fight me for it though, because you know I love France. So
hey, that's tough competition.
yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, look, as always, it's been fantastic. So any suggestions for people who are thinking of house sitting now, despite COVID, despite the new variant? I mean, I love the idea of the VeryFly app. That sounds like an excellent solution, even though it's imperfect. You've obviously worked a solution with paper copies and so on.
And just plenty of time, as John said. Yeah, I think the biggest thing we need to say, if you are a past pet sitter, don't get upset if you're getting refused. I mean, we've put in several and we've gotten refused. You don't know. We don't know what's happening. People are still skitterish. Plans change, as with this one. They're coming back a day early. So just know that it's still kind of soft. I mean, people are still nervous. And so that would be our biggest one. I mean, we're seasoned. We've been doing this for 6 years. And so we're pretty seasoned. And so it has caught us by surprise. But when you start looking at it from the homeowner's point of view, you kind of know, they don't know either. They're going through the same thing we're going through as far as arrangements and everything.
Well, and if you think about the impact that COVID had on various economies, not only was travel impacted, but other employers were impacted. People got laid off, and they were thinking, so what am I going to do? Well, pet sitting is kind of a fun thing to do. People have, some people don't really know what it is, but it sounds like a fun thing to do. So what we really have is fewer opportunities and more people applying for them.
Right.
So you have to be very, very careful about what, making sure you get in early to those. Stay in touch with the owners of the platforms so that.
Well, there's a reason. I think Housesit Match for us right now is perfect because it's more intimate. There's more of an understanding and there's more communication going on. Some of the big platforms have tons of sits, starting to crop up, but they can be a little flaky. And so they haven't been that well vetted. And so it is nice to go with a more intimate platform, yours, for instance. It's just more comfortable. So. Well,
thank you. That's I take that as a compliment. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, we are working to not only get to know each other, but also help people use the site better. We've recently launched the dashboard. I don't know if you've noticed that, and hopefully that makes things just a lot easier. Everything in one place. We're looking to add new features and hopefully more sits. So fingers crossed for not just the end of this year, but next year too.
Green and growing.
Yeah. Great. Oh, look, as always, thank you so much. It's just fabulous talking to you. Your energy and passion for house sitting and, of course, the pets is just inspiring. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for setting this up. We love it. And thanks for being our teacher in many ways and finding this beautiful sit for us.
Oh, well, listen, do keep in touch and let me know how you get on, not just after the holidays, but in Mexico. That sounds really exciting.
Will do.
We will.
All right.
Okay. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Happy house sitting.
Adios.
Bye.